Well, welcome back to the workshop, and here we are with a JVC JL-A20 turntable, and this dates from about 1977. Had a look on the internet and they seem to date it between about 1977 and 1978. This was kindly given to me by a friend, someone I work with actually, and it was given to me along with some JVC speakers and an amplifier and even a JVC video recorder, top loader, and that will probably feature on this channel at some point, but I haven't actually had a look at that just yet. The amplifier now works very well. There was actually no problems with it. I've just cleaned it up and it works very nicely indeed. The speakers had blown tweeters, so I've fitted 2 replacement tweeters and they now work as they should. And yeah, this record player was in a bit of a sad state. The belt in here, which is underneath the mat here, I spin the plat around, you can see the belt just through there. The original belt had disintegrated and perished, and it was just about to do something that Phillips belts do, old Phillips belts. It was going to goo, and it had actually gone very sticky, and although I managed to get it off using a Stanley knife blade, it left a sticky residue, so had to use the normal trick and use cellulose thinners to remove any bits of sticky belt. It was actually stuck to the motor pulley, and that was quite well stuck on that, which is just here, brass motor pulley, and yep, remove that as well, and yeah, that got that off, and thankfully I have quite a stock of record player belts here, and the one I fitted is identical to this, same size. I happen to have 2 in this size, and I've fitted the one that I think is in the best condition. That's fitted and works well. It was unfortunately missing the head shell and cartridge. They just didn't come with it. Perhaps they've been used on another record deck, quite possible. So this is actually a cheap one that I've bought from eBay. It was the cheapest one I could buy. It's got a very basic magnetic cartridge and stylus fitted, and yeah, it's got this brushed silver head shell here, which is very in keeping with the deck. Looks the part, but this is actually a modern head shell and a modern cartridge and stylus, but it cost me £16 off of eBay, and bearing in mind I wasn't 100% sure if this thing could be resurrected to work again, I thought to myself that was about as much as I was prepared to spend. Actually, as cheap as this cartridge and stylus is, the sound from it is absolutely fine. It's perfectly acceptable and sounds fine running through the magnetic selection on the amplifier here. No trouble. So yeah, that works very well. So I could then hear that it was working. Not that there's a lot to these record players. Another thing that had broken is there is a plastic arm that is attached to this lever here, which goes underneath and rejects the record, which basically just returns the tone arm back to the cradle there, and it also doubles up as a shut off for the motor. This was held by a brass nut and screw, and unfortunately the plastic arm that this screwed into was actually snapped. So what I've actually had to carefully do, because the plastic was missing and badly damaged, I've actually drilled through the shaft underneath the tone arm mounting, drilled through and into the plastic through a piece that wasn't broken, a very small hole, and through that hole I've then actually put a split pin. And when I say split pin, I actually mean a paper clip. A piece of paper clip, which just means that the plastic arm is then fixed to the post or shaft of the tone arm there, so that it actually now works again. And all I've done is bend it in place, bend it over, and that now holds into the plastic arm. Very basic. It looks a bit untidy on the inside because you can still see the snapped off plastic, but well, from here you can't see it, can you? So that's fine. The other problem that this had, before I could actually do anything, even switch it on, was someone had cut the mains lead off, and also the phono leads. So there was no way of plugging this thing in to power it up, or even plug it into an amplifier. So I have fitted a new mains lead. Well, it's just a lead I had laying about in the wire drawers that I have, and I've got a nice thick chunky phono lead here with 2 RCAs. It actually says TIAC on the plugs there. Goodness knows what I cut that off of, but it would have been something I'd scrapped years ago, I expect. The lid was extremely dirty, but it's actually not too badly scratched. I've cleaned that up. There's just one big scratch going across there, but otherwise it's only got very light scratches. It's not too bad. And the whole thing was very, very dirty. Been in storage for years. And the other thing I've noticed here is there is this corner piece snapped off and missing there. Looks like that happened a long time ago. So I'm going to perhaps fit some angled black plastic to both of the front corners there, and that will hide that up. And I've done that sort of thing before to tidy up corners. Of course, they're the things that get hit when these things are moved about. Had to lubricate the bearings and down the centre there, and also it was actually missing the bottom bearing plate underneath here, and I actually managed to find one in my various parts trays that actually fitted in there just right, so that's sorted that problem. And another thing I've had to do is to fit washers on the mountings for the motor here to slightly adjust the position of the pulley, because once I'd fitted the new belt it was actually rubbing on this derailleur and re-railer here, which is what is used to change the speed from 33 to 45 RPM. So I've just had to adjust the position using a couple of washers and a couple of felt pads so that the noise of the motor doesn't resonate through the cabinet. So I think that's about all the repairs I've done. So now it has a new belt, it's got a new bearing plate, and it's been greased and oiled, and the arm for the automatic return has been fixed. This now actually works very well indeed.